Good afternoon and welcome to Sears Workwear Oval in Queanbeyan on what I can comfortably say is the coldest day we've had for rugby league in and around the nation's capital in 2019. The temperature right now is 7 degrees. The wind is absolutely howling in from the west-northwest. It's averaging and has been consistently at this all afternoon above 30 kilometres an hour, right now at 35 kilometres an hour on average, so it's picked up a bit in the past few minutes, gusting up to 41 k's. So that says that it's not dropping away much. It is very consistent. We've seen some very interesting stuff in the reserve grade games with some of the kicks today into that wind actually turning the full 180 and coming back towards the player who's kicked them. So it's going to be an interesting one this afternoon in more ways than one, as the first place Tuggeranong Bushrangers have ventured here to Queanbeyan Kangaroos country to take on the Roos, who currently sit fourth and need a win to secure their spot in the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup finals for 2019. My name's Chris Coleman. With me for the match preview, John Croyder from the Canberra Raiders Cup. John, good afternoon to you.
Hey Chris, great to be here and rugged up. We've got about 4 jumpers on and it's quite toasty.
It's not bad. When the sun's out, if you can get out of the wind, it's actually quite pleasant. The problem is that you'll see on the game this afternoon, there's not a lot of covered area here, although plenty of people watching from their cars at the western end of the ground. And I ducked into the clubhouse, which is immediately above where we're calling from. We've snuck into a bunker underneath the clubhouse today. There's a lot of people taking advantage of the big glassed walls to look out over Sears Workwear this afternoon, and it's going to be a very, very exciting game. What are you most looking forward to today?
Well, I think this is the biggest game all season so far. It's if Tuggeranong win, they get the minor premiership. If they lose, it sets up an absolute cracking game next week. And also, in the Queanbeyan Roos, they get a chance to be in the secure their spot in finals as well. So I'm really excited to see how. Well, they've got Travis Robinson and Reece Robinson playing today. It's the first time that they're playing together in first grade. So I'm really excited to see how they go. But also with Tuggeranong, they've got a lot of injuries in the outside backs, but they've just got a really good forward pack. And I'm really looking forward just to see how they match up against the Roos pack, but it's going to be a really good battle. I
think that's a really interesting question. You mentioned the injuries that the Bushrangers are bringing in today in the outside backs. You look at who they're missing from their squad. Nathan Smith, now he hasn't played a lot of football this year, but he's been very influential when he played for them. But they're also missing Drury Lowe, Narima Lowe, Matt Dragicic and Wes Alexander. There's 4 top draw players who would walk into any side in this Canberra Raiders Cup competition, and they're all missing today.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt Dragicic, the only forward in that list. Wes Alexander really cemented his spot in the 5/8 position, just misses it with illness today. Been told he should be back next week, but he's been really outstanding and a really good foil for Michael Brophy, who's a bit of a makeshift half. For some of our viewers who were watching last year, Rob Sheffield, he was playing on the wing last year. Michael Brophy was in the centres. They're the halves pairing going into today. So really, it's actually been surprising just how well Brophy's just taken to it. He definitely doesn't look out of place. And the times that I've seen Brophy and Sheffield being in the halves earlier in the year, they're actually quite good. But I think it was about round 4 the last time that they played in the halves together. So it's been a long time since then, and the Roos probably behind Bushrangers, probably the form team of the competition. They've been outstanding. Won, I think, 5 of the last 6,
yeah.
Yeah, and they've been fairly comfortable of that as well. So, yeah, it would be a really interesting sort of matchup.
Let's throw this out there, though. It's not. It doesn't all go in favour of Queanbeyan in terms of players who are out. Nuku Nagiri out with injury, and Williams also. Trey Williams out with an injury. There's 2 players again, and as you know, I'm a big fan of watching Nuku Nagiri. I've seen him run absolutely roughshod over several players over the past few seasons in this Canberra Raiders Cup. He will be missed.
Yeah, definitely. I don't recall him missing a game in the 3 seasons we've been doing this. He's just outstanding on an edge for them. And the other thing as well would be Trey Williams. He's probably got the biggest kick out of the halves pairing for the Roos.
And on a day like today, that's going to be really important.
Exactly. So, like in previous years, they've had the luxury of having someone like Brent Crisp who could probably kick it a good 50 metres, get a lot of height, trouble the back 3. It'd be interesting to see how they go with their kicking game today. interesting to see what tactics the teams employ.
It will indeed. If you won the toss today, absolutely no doubt you'll run to the right of screen, because the ground, there is a slight slope. It's not massive, it's a slight slope running down towards the right of screen to the eastern end of the ground. But you're aided today by this massive wind. As I said before, wind has been averaging consistently above 30 kilometres an hour right through the course of the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw in the reserve grade game, I think it was the Queanbeyan Roos who were running to the left. They kicked off, and it almost went back over their heads. So it really shows how strong that wind is. Also saw a conversion from nearly in front, and the wind just picked it up at the last second, and it just ended up going at about maybe close to 10 metres right of the upright, even though the kick was perfectly
It was a good kick.
Yeah. It was a good kick. So the wind, not only is it strong, it's a little bit unpredictable when it picks up.
The attacking prowess of this Tuggeranong Bushrangers side, and I think there's been a few people saying at some stage they've got to fall off, they've got to drop off. But you look at it, you've got Connor Masson leads the way for them with 12 tries. With that back line, Eldridge has scored half a dozen, Pollard scored 7 on the other wing. You've got Josh Baker moving into this Edison scoring 4 tries as well across the course of the season. There's a lot of try-scoring power there. I appreciate that the Roos have got Kane Pugura at fullback, and he's scored 13, and Brian Cronin, who's been a try-scoring machine for this club, with 7 tries there. But just on balance, I think it's the Bushrangers backline there's just that little bit more excitement and unpredictability about for this afternoon.
Yeah, I actually look at the back line, and I actually probably go slightly in favour of the Roos in terms of the back line. I just really like the power that they've got through Meki and Whanuatonga on the 2 wings. They're going to get a lot of metres. And then, Travis Robinson, we haven't seen him play first grade this season, but obviously a class player and was part of the premiership sides in the early, around like 2010, 2011, I think it was. And then Brian Cronin as well. Kane Pugura, a lot of speed, and just a prolific try scorer. Connor Masson's been really good in his first season of first grade for Tuggeranong. Where I see the big strength for Tuggeranong is that forward pack, and I think Jaden Thomas, I'd say he's been one of the players of the season for me. He's been outstanding, and I just think he's just a class act.
Well, it is going to be a very exciting game this afternoon, and as you can see, we've got the Tuggeranong Bushrangers have made their way out onto the ground, and John, we'll catch up with you at half-time. John Kreuter from the Canberra Raiders Cup there, so he'll be back to give us a bit of a wrap at the break in about 40 minutes, but I can see out there now the Bushrangers there, and now the Queanbeyan Kangaroos make their way out onto the paddock. Mentioned earlier, it is first versus fourth. The Tuggeranong Bushrangers, 11 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw for the season. They've scored nearly 400 points. In fact, of the sides in the top 4, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers probably the least potent in attack, but they've got such a... and I deliberately said that just as their coach walked by. They've only scored 394 points, which is the least number of points scored by the sides in the top 4, but their defence has been something else. They've only conceded 282, a points difference of 112 in their favour. The Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they sit fourth, 8 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. They're plus 135. Having scored 406 and conceded 271. They have 21 competition points. They need a win today. It will secure their spot in the finals. A win for Tuggeranong will secure the minor premiership. And in an interesting sideline, this week we will have I'm sure, the Queanbeyan Blues fans in the unusual situation of cheering for the Queanbeyan Roos as we get underway on this Saturday afternoon. Very chilly conditions for rugby league here at Sears Workwear Oval. Round 17 of the Canberra Raiders Cup, and it's the Bushrangers who'll be getting first use of the ball. They're in the blue strip, or predominantly blue strip, running to the right of your screen, and that would be Benjamin Nanisa on tackle 3. Takes it about 15 metres short of halfway. Jared Kennedy, big man, hard to stop, just short of the halfway line there. Mitchell will be a very busy man for them today in the number 9 jersey. Can't really miss him. They go for the kick early. Now Brophy puts the kick up and you'll see it swirl around on the breeze. Bounces down, been knocked on there for mine by Jacob McGrath, and not just knocked on but goes into touch as well. And so it'll be a handover of the ball, and it'll be Troy Wiley to take possession of it for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. I'm just doing a double check of the jersey numbers because unusually today we didn't get a real chance to double-check jersey numbers during the player warm-ups because Queanbeyan Kangaroos, most of their players were warming up with jerseys with the gear over the top of their playing strip, and the Tuggeranong side warmed up on the other side of the club rooms in about the only part of this ground that is sheltered from the wind. So we just have to double check and make sure that everyone's in the jersey that they have been assigned to, but they are indeed, as far as I can see. And being very, very careful on the sideline there, Travis Robinson, but he gets up, plays the ball and is okay. And good to see him out there as well. First time I've seen Travis Robinson. And of course Reece Robinson in the 6th jersey this afternoon as well. And yeah, that's going to be a bit of fun. There's they're very similarly built, those two boys. But it's now the last tackle coming up. So what's the option? Well, it's a running option. And James Ulrich, well, he's got up so quickly there that the Bushrangers weren't back in time. So the Roos will take it away with Bradley. Bradley gets up towards the line now, and again, penalty inside the 10. And now this is going to get very interesting because they're going to be really able to push hard here. And we've seen them win so many games at this ground in the past couple of years by virtue of scoring points early. That was Baxter again, picked up and turned around in the tackle. Now they come across to the left. Reece Robinson, steps left, steps right, looks towards the posts. Before he stopped in there, just short of the line. They go across to the right. The unmistakable Lockie Ingram in that little headgear. And Ayres on another run. Didn't mention Josh Ayres in the lead up to this game, but you've got a man like him in the second row who can score tries but also set them up. As the kick comes through, been picked up there off the turf though by Connor Masson. But he's trapped in the in-goal area and will come back to under the posts to drop it out again. The Roos continue on their attacking way here. And this time it's Jordan Bradley. So he's just outside the 20 as he plays the ball. Ingram gets involved once again. Now bursting out of the tackle is Jeremiah Simbican. He's offloaded to a teammate and the try's been scored here. They've done this against their more fancied opposition and into the wind. It's a pretty good start for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. They lead 4-0, 4 minutes gone. And as I said, they're doing it into the wind here at Sears Workwear Oval. We talk more about the backlines and the forwards in the pre-match preview, but gee, this Queanbeyan side, they've just been absolutely using their forwards to perfection in the first 5 minutes here. I think that's only the third set of the game though. Tuggeranong got the first set and then Roos had it, a couple of penalties, so I suppose strictly speaking every time they get a penalty it's another set, so it would have been a set, 2 penalties and another set, so possession very much in favour of the home side as Ingram lines up to made the conversion. Now we'll see what he does here. You're not going to want to put a lot of height on your kicks today. Really try and kick it through the breeze. The wind at higher level has been playing havoc with the kicking game in the earlier games. You'll see Perhaps it does hold up after it goes through the posts, but no problem there. Ingram gets his first conversion for the afternoon. And the Queanbeyan Kangaroos lead by 6 points to nothing after about 4 minutes. So we get back underway. And the Kangaroos, well, they continue to hang on to the ball. They're going to enjoy this game if they keep possession. You don't want to be mucking around too much in defence here this afternoon either, because you are going to get very, very cold. Malvini involved in the tackle there alongside Josh Mitchell. This is the Kangaroos of old, though. This is what we've seen from them in the past couple of seasons here. They just make metres almost at will. That was Ulrich on the previous run. And then underneath there, that's Troy Wiley, and just short of the halfway line. They come to the left, looking to go around the short side. Had plenty of numbers there, but it was Ayres who got wrapped up in the tackle. Now the kick comes from Ingham. What happens with this here? Is it going to hold up? It very, very difficult. Well taken in the end by Connor Masson in the headgear. And he gets to about 12 short of the halfway line. Now Tuggeranong, they'll be looking to really do something with it. As Jaden Thomas for the Bushrangers crosses into enemy territory. Sheffield comes into 5/8, goes for a little bit of a run, then pops it over to, I think it's Jacob McGrath. They're starting to make some metres here now, the Bushrangers. Haven't seen much of the ball so far today. Again, Thomas. Still going Thomas. That's the 30-metre stripe that he's been tackled on, and then he gets pushed back as the Kangaroos come up in numbers. Nanisa was waiting on the left. They've gone to the right. Little grubber kick comes through from Sheffield. It goes towards the sideline. I'm not sure why the winger was charging through there trying to dive on it. I think it was Pollard who dived on it. That was, for mine, a good 5 metres short of the try line. I'm a little intrigued as to what he was doing there. Maybe he got his lines mixed up and thought it was in the in-goal area. One of the corner posts, by the way, has gone down, and that may just be throwing the players' perspective out a little. In fact, 2 of the corner posts are now down. Anyway, it doesn't matter much. The ball is going to be fed into the scrum, and it'll be the Kangaroos to do so. They lead 6-0, 8 minutes into this game here at Sears Workwear Oval. Waiting to see what the Roos have in offer. That's Mackey. At 15 short of halfway. Now across to the right they go. It's a good defensive set from the Bushrangers. Kick for the corner comes from Ingram. It sits up on the breeze. Difficult to be taken. I think it's Eldridge who's got over there and grabbed it in time. And now they'll try and work it out as quickly as they can here. He's just grabbed at his head for a second there on the ground, did Pollard, but he's okay. He's up and play continues. Mitchell busy over to O'Malvini. See how quickly this Kangaroos defence is getting up. I can tell you, they are holding a good 10 metres. That's a good kick for the corner, but it's been well retrieved by Kane Pagura for the Kangaroos, and he's about 10 metres short of halfway as Travis Robinson comes into dummy half and decides to go for a little bit of a run himself. Doesn't get too far, but he's already just short of the halfway line. Now Mackey, and he gets to the mid-stripe. So that'll be the second tackle, and they're already, once again, into opposition territory. I said, we keep seeing this over and over from this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. That's Simbican. Instrumental in setting up that first try. And again, he's got such a good offload. Ball bounces awkwardly for everyone. Kicked through by Travis Robinson. Dived on by the Bushies. And they'll come up with it. That'll be Masson who dived on it. Mitchell asking if the Kangaroos were back to 10. They have been up very, very quickly, repeatedly in the first 10 minutes of this game. I think it was Thomas who went on the run. And that may be McGrath over there now. Starting to click a little bit more in attack, this Bushrangers side. Thomas again, 10 short of halfway. Go to the left. Now that kick's copped a touch on the way through. I reckon it was Wiley who took it there. With his back to the chasers, but he did well to hang on to it. Took it in good territory for his side, and now once again the Kangaroos. They've got a good chance to set up Simbican. Finds Baxter on his outside with quick hands, 15 into opposition territory. Tuggeranong able to slow down the play of the ball here by holding on to Baxter for a moment. That's Reece Robinson on his outside. Was that Pagura? It was. Now they go around with Ayres again. Ayres spins through the 360. They're inside the red zone again, this Kangaroos side. They lead by 6. Can they take it out to double digits? A lot of mucking around in the play of the ball. Managed to steal a couple of metres in there, did Josh Ayres. Referee lets it go. Ingram goes with a little kick. It bounces off. 6 again, says the ref. It comes back to Reece Robinson. Little knock on in there. Yes, it was. He tried to disguise it as a kick, did Robinson, but the referee was on to him, saw the ball that hit the ground before it was kicked. I may have this wrong, but I reckon it went from hand to ground to hand to foot. And so the Bushrangers get to breathe again. And it'll be Brophy to feed the scrum as they do so, 15 out from their own line. Just need something to provide a little bit of a spark. They just seem a little flat at the moment. Mind you, I did mention this. It is cold here today. Baker goes for a run. He's about 19 short of halfway, not far in from touch. So they're trying to work their way around on that left edge at the moment. That was McGrath. They've lost the ball. It's gone back. Should be play on. Is play on, says the referee. And then he's picked a penalty out. I didn't see the infraction. But here we go. We'll get to see the Tuggeranong side attacking for the first time today. And look how many metres he's been able to get on that. Great kick by Mitchell. Just roosts it high into the wind. Didn't go out by much, but didn't need to. So they go across to the right, and that's Nanisa. Nanisa gets inside the 20, and they're directly in front of the posts. Mitchell runs. Drops it round to Brophy. Brophy, Harbour Bridge pass. Finds O'Malvini. He's lost the ball in there. It's been knocked on by Tuggeranong first, then by Queanbeyan. So the Queanbeyan Kangaroos will get the ball back, and the Bushrangers, well, they've wasted their first real attacking opportunity. I wonder whether that last pass to O'Malvini sat up a bit too much on the breeze and was just out of his reach to grab hold of it. So it'll be Reece Robinson to feed the scrum. They've got the dangerous and agile Lockie Ingram waiting 2 passes off the ruck on the scrum on the far side. Instead, it's Meckie who takes the run. Could have given it to Ingram, but held on to it himself. He's 25 out from his own line. The Kangaroos, I reckon that was Bradley that time. Again, they make it up over the halfway line through Ayres. right in front of our commentary position here. And he makes it 10 metres into opposition territory. And he gets the penalty. So the Kangaroos through Ingram. Gets up to the 20 on the kick. Okay. That's Robinson. It was Travis. Goes to Ayres and then on to Reece Robinson. Ingram. And that's Bradley in there. They'll come back to the left. Waiting for it was Baxter. He was up to speed. Tackled on the 10. Looked across to the left and they go that way. Reece Robinson. Finds Ayres. Had men on the outside but got tackled very, very quickly. Robinson goes for a short run from dummy half. Gives it to Wiley. Wiley looks to offload. I think it would have been Travis Robinson he could get the ball to, but didn't happen for them. Now they're going to be expansive here as they go through Ingram onto Bradley, and Bradley tries to charge his way through the Tuggeranong defence. Last tackle, good defence from the Bushrangers on this set. Ingram goes on his outside, puts the ball onto Cronin. Cronin kicks for the corner and the ball goes dead. We'll come back over back to under the posts by the looks of that from the referee. So it must have come off a Bushrangers hand or a Bushrangers player. So the Kangaroos will get yet more possession. Tuggeranong defending stoutly. Low trajectory kick from under the posts. Oh, Ingram knocked it back. Touch judge was in perfect position. Well, I thought it went back off his hands. Maybe that was accentuated because he took a step forward as he lost it. Maybe it initially went forward and blew back in the wind, but call that maybe goes a little bit lucky in the favour of the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. They'll get a scrum feed almost in the middle of the park here. You can see Brad Robertson has come on for them. There's also, this will be fun, we've got a Robinson and a Robertson out there now. I'll do my best to use first names for those players so we don't get too confused. And there is Brad Robertson now. I suppose you can tell the difference between him. He's on the other side as well. Going to the right now, the Bushrangers through Kennedy. Kennedy lifted a little in the tackle by Reece Robinson just to hold him up more than anything else. They go left. That'll be Neal, Brent Neal. And that's the 30-metre line. Tuggeranong could tie this up. They've got numbers to the left and they use them now. Brophy doesn't use the numbers, in fact uses himself and gets to the 20-metre line. And they continue to work on the short side where I still think they had a one-man overlap. I think it was Sheffield they went to. Now they've got numbers to the right. They go the short side again. Ball, I think, went to ground for a second. It's been grabbed there by the Kangaroos. So Tuggeranong just struggling a little bit in the final stages of their attack to get towards the line and convert possession into points. Nearly midway through this first half, and it's still 6 points the difference, and the ball goes down. It'll be a knock-on, and this time Tuggeranong will get the ball via a scrum, and they'll get it in a pretty good position, about 25 out, directly in front of the sticks. Finally worked out what was scraping against my microphone, so apologies for all the background noise you've been getting through there, if you've been hearing it all. I can tell you it's been echoing through my headphones. I don't know whether it's been coming through on the feed, so apologies for that. We've got that one sorted out now. Got so many layers of clothing and so many things on today. I go to the right, that's Brophy. Turns around, he's got O'Malvini on his inside, and he's picked up and dumped in the tackle just inside the 20. No harm done, or maybe a little bit of harm done. He did get flipped in the tackle. He didn't go much past the horizontal, but did seem to ragdoll a little and land awkwardly. So he's in the hands of the trainer. All seems to be okay. Now that's Brent Neal taking it for a run. Tackle just short of the 10. Got Kennedy to the left. Instead they go to the right rather. Instead they go to Brophy. Brophy then on to McGrath. McGrath tackled 10 out. And then it comes off the chest there. Oh, man charging forward and it gets knocked on. Just finding it very hard, this Tuggeranong side, to finish things off. Well, we're past the 20-minute mark, and just the one try so far today to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. They lead 6-0. The scrum at their own end of the park. I tell you, Whanua Tonga didn't like how he was tackled there. Just gave a little bit of a half-hearted slap at his opposite number as he came up out of the tackle. Didn't seem terribly happy about it. But again, they're making maybe not quite as much distance as they'd like as they have done on past sets now. Give it to Ingram. He goes to his right, finds Simbican, and Simbican crosses halfway. He's brought down 5 metres into opposition territory. They've got numbers a long way to the left, and they go that way now with the Ingram long ball onto Reece Robinson. Reece Robinson steps, threatens to go to his left, and then straightens and gets over the 40. But this is the last tackle. So kick, this time the low kick from Ingram, taken by Mackey, and Mackey, he just needed a man in support. He had Ayres behind him, but was just too far away from him to drop the ball out the back. Not sure who it was who made the tackle there on Mackey, but did well to wrap him up as well and remove his ability to drop the ball out the back as well. So well defended by Tuggeranong. They'll be starting to scratch their heads at the moment, though. They're running with a very strong breeze. They're running on the slight slope here as well. They find themselves trailing. They really haven't been able to convert what I'd estimate is potentially a 12 or 18 point breeze in these conditions. They have not been able to convert it into points. Still plenty of time till the break, though. Mitchell goes to the right and he finds Brent Neal, and Neal is now about 9 metres short of the halfway line. Don't seem to be moving terribly fluidly at the moment. So the kick comes now from Mitchell, and it's down into the corner. And Pagura, dangerous man on broken field play. What's he got? He'll set off at speed across the park, look for a gap, and he's just sat down on his backside as a couple of the Tuggeranong Bushrangers come in to wrap him up in the tackle. So the danger is defused again, and I reckon that might be Mackey on yet another run. It is in there underneath, so he's starting to get plenty of possession today is Sakapi Mackey, the winger for the Kangaroos. Now Baxter again. Some fairly hefty strapping on his left leg as Baxter, but doesn't seem to be restricting his movement at all. Now, what have the Bushrangers got? Well, they've got Eldridge here, and he goes across field. He goes for one little goose step. He breaks out of the first tackle, tries to push out of the second, can't do so. It was Robinson. That was Travis Robinson who was on the burst with him. He pushed away from him, but it was Mackey who came up to complete the tackle. He's been one of the best out there today for the Kangaroos in attack and getting involved in defence as well now. Now for the Bushrangers, they go via Pollard. He's come in from the other wing. Runs at Bradley. Probably not the best target, and he's put down. That'll be 3, and they're still inside their own 30. Now that's Latawa, I think, who'd just come on and made the previous run up. Now that's going to be a 40-20 if it turns to the right. It doesn't turn right. It rolls and rolls and goes into the in goal, and eventually goes over the dead ball line. Smart play by Queanbeyan to just stand there and wait for the touch judge to realise that it had gone dead. So it'll be a 7-tackle set for the Kangaroos as they come out from their own end of the park. with Simbican, and still Simbican. He's a real excitement machine. What's he done this year? He's only scored 4 tries. I'm sure it was him. Might have been his brother, but last year or the year before went the full 100 metres on a televised game we did here. I'm trying to work out which one it was. They're both very exciting players. It was Jed who went the full length of the field, I'm told, but they're going to get a try here. The Kangaroos. And they make it look all too easy at the moment. That's come from almost nothing. That'll be Whenua Tonga who scored it. And they go to a 10-0 lead up the hill and into the wind. But they're making it look a lot easier than it should be. I said it earlier. I said there'll be Queanbeyan Blues fans who'll be cheering for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos this week. I guess the Blues, if the Roos win this week, then the Blues play the Bushrangers next week, potentially for top spot. And you'd also potentially then have the Kangaroos fans cheering for the Blues next week, because I'm not sure if the Roos can catch the Bushrangers. It's all very complicated. We'll have a look at it at half time. There's not much between the sides in the top 4. Actually, what we'll do is while we're waiting for that to happen, no, the Roos can't catch the Bushrangers, but the Blues certainly can. The Blues this afternoon playing the Woden Valley Rams. Woden, well, mathematically possible. Likewise for West Belconnen, mathematically possible. They're 2 words you don't really like to be talking about when you're 2 weeks after the finals. What happens with the conversion attempt here? You'll see it. It's curved away to the left and is unsuccessful. So 10-0. Ingram will be looking forward to a couple of conversion attempts in the second half, you'd imagine, because really the wind that he's got to try and kick into, as soon as you get the ball more than about 10 feet off the ground, it's like kicking into a brick wall. 12 minutes till the break. Tuggeranong with the best of the conditions, but Queanbeyan with the best of the possession and the best of the game so far. But you can't afford to make a mistake like that. I don't know who it was who's made the blue, because he's obscured by a post. I'm probably wishing the ground could potentially open up behind him, because this one is going to see the ball come back to Tuggeranong. It will be a line dropout, but the line dropout is going to have to go into the wind. And unusually for rugby in the late 20 teens, we don't see, or rugby league in the late 20 teens, we don't see anyone over the 50-metre line from Tuggeranong to retrieve the ball, and that's why, because the line dropout was into the wind, and Brophy takes it and gets inside the 20. Now it's Oakley for the Bushrangers, and he takes it to the 10. So Tuggeranong, well, they've given up 2 tries. Can they strike back here? Brophy has a look to his left, hangs onto the pill. Gets pushed back, and again he's tackled all the way back to the 10-metre line. That's the 3rd. Mitchell is asking for a speedier play of the ball. It doesn't happen. Robertson now. Brad Robertson pushing towards the line. Best chance that Tuggeranong have had comes here. They've got an extra man to the right if they can go long ball. Brophy has it and can't get the pass away before he's wrapped up in the tackle. Oh, he's not quite wrapped up in the tackle. Now he is. So this will be the last. They've still got an extra man to the right. They go that way now with Eldridge. Eldridge puts a little kick through. It bounces around a couple of times, and it's shepherded over the dead ball line by Sekope Meki. And the Kangaroos will get yet another 7-tackle set. That'll be the 2nd or 3rd that they've had today. With 10 minutes till the break, they've defused yet another attack from this Bushrangers side. I can tell you, it's dropped a couple of degrees here in the last couple of minutes, and the cloud is starting to roll in. We might be able to get some real winter football happening here before the end of the afternoon, but hopefully not as bad as it was last night. Been very well publicised what happened just up the road in the Aussie rules competition, with the snow falling last night. I don't think it'll get quite that cold here today. Maybe again this evening. Anyway, let's focus on the task at hand, and that's Lockie Ingram taking the ball over halfway for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Now Baxter takes it another 10 metres. Really must not tickle tackling a man of that size and going at that speed on a day like today. Now Reece Robinson, he finds Ingram again. Ingram turns around on his inside. That was Queanbeyan. He was only just 2 metres short. Reece Robinson decides to try and go himself. Now he's over the line there, but I reckon he'll be held up. He's been turned turtle, and penalty is awarded. Tuggeranong coming up too quickly. So the Roos will take the ball back to the 10-metre stripe, and they'll get a full set of 6 from here. What have they got? About 9 minutes to go till the break. So they give it to Bradley. He's now a couple of metres out. They go across to the right. Is that Pagura on hands and knees? No. Is that Cronin? Very hard to tell who a player is when they score a try when they're crawling on their hands and knees away from you. Just trying to pick him up as the celebrations happen, or have happened. I reckon it was Cronin. Was it Cronin who got that? It was. So we've had that confirmed. One of the more unusual tries you'll see, crawling on his hands and knees towards the line and no one able to get a hand on him, and he gets the 4-pointer. 14-0 for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. 8 minutes till the break. And you've just got to start wondering how far is going to be too far, bearing in mind in the second half they're going to be going with the wind. Another tough conversion coming up for Ingram. Maybe the breeze just dying off just a little bit in the last minute or two. Although as I look across to the trees to the western end of the ground, they're certainly still swaying at higher level. Again, you need to be aiming a little bit lower. Goes for the lower angle kick, and this time gets it through just above goalpost height. He's got 2 from 3, and it's 16 points to blot. 7 minutes till the break here, and the home side doing everything they need to at the moment to hold themselves and lock themselves into a finals berth. Tuggeranong had 27 competition points coming into today, the Blues 24, the Bulldogs 22, and the Kangaroos 21. Now Goulburn had the bye today, so Kangaroos can't move up the ladder today, but they can certainly maintain the pressure on the sides above them. In fact, the Kangaroos need the Blues to lose today, and the Kangaroos still an outside chance of stealing second spot on the competition ladder. So I did say it was very, very complicated. Right now, well, they've just got to keep scoring points and keep on winning, as they've done plenty of in the past few weeks. That's Simbican again. He's just short of the halfway line. They go left, Ingram. He finds Baxter, and Baxter, he can do this all day, probably will do it all day. Just trucks the ball over the halfway line once again. Reece Robinson's waiting to the left, and they go to him now. He's got his brother on the further on the outside, doesn't quite get to him. Now it's back to Reece Robinson. He looks across, doesn't give it to his brother, shows the dummy. Probably could have offloaded, wasn't held, gets up, tries to steal his way across to the line. Multiple Bushrangers wrap him up right in the corner of the field here at Sears Workwear Oval. Last tackle, says the referee. It was Travis Robinson who had it, but it's been cleared away and dived upon by Hitchcock. Bailey Hitchcock, who's only just come on there for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, and being on the last tackle to be the Bushrangers that get the ball. They've gone scoreless 35 minutes with the advantage of a very strong breeze at their back. Eldridge just runs straight into a couple of Roos players. You'd hear the air expelled from his lungs as he ran into Steve Dunn. Now it's Masson from the Bushrangers. He's just short of the 20. Again, at his own end of the park. Is that Ioane now? It is. Jalil Fa'amoe Ioane. And he's wrapped up about 25 out. They've got the penalty for the extra retention in the late in the tackle. So, again, monster penalty kick on the back of the breeze. They'll start a set here with 4 minutes to go until the break. In opposition territory, they need to score because they're 3 tries down. That was McGrath. They're at the 30. Spin it across to the right. That's Latawa. Only made 2 metres on that tackle. Robertson's waiting on the outside. They elect not to use him. It goes to Brophy. Brophy bounces out of the first tackle, rounds around behind his own man. And then finally taken down at the 20. That's the third. Now a run from dummy half from Mitchell. And Sheffield. So it's all the backs doing the work here. Sheffield has it again. Sheffield is looking for the line. He's, held just short of the line he is. Mitchell, kick goes through. Ball bounces around off 2 or 3 players for mine. Dived on by the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. They've got it, and they'll play it at their own end of the park. So 3 minutes till the break. And the Kangaroos looking to complete a 40-minute shutout here of their opposition. And I suspect they're going to be able to complete that quite comfortably. That might have been Tonga. He's in there, and he's actually managed to get the offload away. Oh, this could be big trouble. Good defence in there. Who made that tackle? It was Sheffield who made the tackle. The Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they've passed the ball all the way across to a very dangerous man in Reece Robinson. He steps right and left and cuts through. Makes about 20 metres. Well, they've got time to score points now before the half-time siren sounds. They work it across to the right. That's Cronin. We saw him score a try crawling over the line before. Usually we see him flying over the line. They decided to run it on the last. It goes through the hands of Reece Robinson to Travis Robinson. He's bounced out of the first, he's bounced out of the second, but he's wrapped up the third time and actually pushed into touch. So the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they're going to wind up with the ball. And they're going to have 2 minutes to try and do something with it here. They really haven't looked like a top-of-the-table side this afternoon, this Tuggeranong side. They really have been struggling. We'll get some analysis from John Kreuter in a moment as we see them once again try and bring it out from their end of the park. Latawa has it. He's tackled just inside his own 20. Go to the right. It's a big Aiden Oakley. But again, they're only making a few metres at a go. Whereas the Kangaroos have been making 10 metres a tackle, almost every tackle at their own end of the park. That was Robertson that time. They go to the left. Kick over comes from Brophy. It's bounced horribly for Eldridge, completely fooled him and everyone else. Simbican was following, managed to take it. And he passed it back to Whenua Tonga. And again, Queanbeyan, with 40 seconds left until the break, they'll have one last crack at this Tuggeranong side as Sekope Meki bounces out of 1 and 2. Takes 3 players to bring him to ground. He's 10 metres into opposition territory. Now it's Baxter. Gets to the 30. Now Hitchcock goes for a short run. Robinson through the hands. It winds up with Travis Robinson. Turns it back on the inside. He gives it to Josh Ayres, and Josh Ayres, always a dangerous man with the pill, and he scores another one. That's his 7th try for the season. Remarkable effort from this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. The siren's going to sound any second now, John Kreuter, from the Canberra Raiders Cup. There's the siren. They lead 20-0 with a kick to come at half-time, having done it uphill and into the breeze. This is a remarkable first 40 minutes from the home side.
I don't think I've seen a better half of football from any team this season. That was... Every run had a lot of purpose. You said it yourself, they're getting about 10 metres every single run. The back three were doing so much damage, and I think that's been the big difference between the two teams. You look at the back three for Tuggeranong, Eldridge has been pretty solid, but Masson and Pollard, they haven't really made any metres. There's been a couple of times where you watch them go and you're just thinking, I don't know if they want the ball. I don't know if they're wanting to do those really hard runs.
I hate to say that about a side, but really, a lot of the Tuggeranong players, they just look like they've not quite had their head in the game for the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, and like they're we know they're a quality outfit. They're more premiers last year. They're top of the table at the moment. So we know that they're the benchmark. They've been the best side in the comp, at least in the regular season over the last 2 years. But they just haven't looked the part today. I think for them, they've been very lucky they've had Jared Kennedy and Josh Mitchell out there.
You'll get a great view of what the wind is doing to the ball here. Well, actually, you won't, because he's kicked that just as the wind has dropped away for a moment there, Ingram, and he's kicked it straight, and it stayed straight. Had the wind come up there, it would have missed by more. He's gone 2 from 4 today, so we've got 20 points to nil at half-time. But, John, just to continue on your thoughts for the half-time.
Yeah, I just thought Jared Kennedy, Josh Mitchell, whenever they weren't making any metres from a full set, on the fifth or sometimes the fourth, he would kick it to get a good 40, 50 metres, just one of those low kicks just from dummy half. And also, I thought Jared Kennedy did an outstanding job on Josh Ayres in that first half. I know he scored that try right on half-time, but there was a lot of times where he was in a one-on-one situation, wrapped the ball up, got the man down, and when it's Josh Ayres that you're marking, that's easier said than done. I think those two have been outstanding, but I feel like they've been let down a little bit by their teammates.
Look, this Queanbeyan Kangaroos pack today, and I've lost count of the number of times over the past 3 years that we've talked about the power and the strength and the size of the Queanbeyan Kangaroos pack. It doesn't matter who they put out there. They just do it again and again. But today, Bradley, I've called him so much today. Baxter has been another one. Jeremiah Simbican, just always dangerous. And again, he's broken through that line on numerous occasions. Wiley's played a good supporting role off the back there. Kylie, we haven't seen a great deal of yet off the bench, but that forward pack for the Kangaroos has been tremendous. Ulrich's been driving them around the paddock, and Lockie Ingram, what a game he's having at halfback today. And his kicking game into the wind today has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I was a little curious how they would go about it, but they haven't really had to, because they've been making 70 metres, they haven't had to kick to get out of trouble, so they've been able to put in those low, grumbly type of kicks.
It's been really awkward for Tuggeranong to handle. Yeah,
and they've really caused a lot of problems for Connor Masson in particular, just closest to us. But obviously they found a bit. They probably haven't gone down their right edge as much as their left, but they found joy down there with the 2 tries. The first one to Simbican, the second one to Whenua Tonga, and it looks like earlier as well. Whenua Tonga, he took a hit up, and Brenton Neal went in for a collision, and he was nursing. It looked like he was nursing his shoulder, so he went off after that, and I haven't seen him back on. He was receiving a bit of treatment on the sideline. So, that back three has been quite outstanding.
And do we give an award for the most unusual try of the year to Brian Cronin, who went over on hands and knees, untouched, which all Tuggeranong would have had to do there was to just put a finger on his back, and he would have been called as tackle, but instead he's crawled over from well, maybe my mind is exaggerating this now, but he seemed to crawl over from 3 or 4 metres out, untouched, and get the ball over the stripe.
Yeah, it was
odd.
I've seen some more. I've seen some unusual tries throughout the season. That one, he wanted it more, and I think that's what
the story of the tape.
That's exactly, because we know both teams are high quality sides, but Queanbeyan Kangaroos playing to secure a final spot, they just want it more. It was quite an unfortunate situation for Tuggeranong earlier. It looks like, I think it was Brad Robinson, looked like he was going to go over, and he was in a gap, and the ball just hit him in the face, and
right in the mush.
A bit of a falcon there. At least that's how I saw it from my position with the camera. So they've had their chances. They've been down the end, but they haven't really looked that likely.
On the plus side, you're on top of the table. You're 3 points clear. You're 2 weeks out from the finals. If you're going to have a bad half of footy, it's probably better to have it now than in 2 weeks' time in the major semi.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have troops back next week as well. So I think it's get everyone through today. Hopefully an improved performance in that second half. A big week next week against the Blues, regardless of today's results, and then the finals. And that's when you want to be hitting your peak. So they've done so well over the course of the season. They've got that luxury. Regardless of today's results, they could still... Their destiny's in their own hands in terms of trying to get a home final. So that's the beauty of been such a good side for the whole course of the season.
That's for sure. So with tries to Cronin, Tonga, Ayres and Simbican, and 2 from 4 with the boot for Lockie Ingram, the home side, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they lead by 20-0 at the moment here at Sears Worker Oval. The second half is on the way. It'll be the Queanbeyan Kangaroos going down the slope and with the wind in the second half, but well, I'm not going to predict anything, John, because well, we thought that it may have favoured the Tuggeranong Bushrangers in the first side, but they failed to make the most of the conditions. But I can guarantee the paint will be peeling off the walls in that Tuggeranong dressing room right now, courtesy of Coach Jared Tecker. He won't be a happy man. No,
he won't be, but I think he also won't be happy because he knows the quality in that side. So I expect to see a much better second half performance, and I'm interested to see what side turns out.
Well, we'll find out in the next few minutes. You're watching Bar TV as we bring you our continuing coverage of the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup for 2019, where right now, at the break, it is the Queanbeyan Kangaroos leading the Tuggeranong Bushrangers by 20-0. Queanbeyan Kangaroos are back out on the field. And Tuggeranong Bushrangers making their way out now. They have the Devil's own job ahead of them. A reminder that a win for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers this afternoon wraps up top spot for them. A win for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos wraps up a finals berth and keeps their chase for second spot alive, depending on other results, for another week. But right now it is the Kangaroos in the box seat. They lead by 20 points to nothing. Updating on the weather conditions, if you are wondering, well, it has dropped to about 5.5 degrees. And the wind chill, with the wind still averaging, well, actually it's dropped below 30 kilometres an hour for the first time all afternoon. It's averaging 28 k's from the west-northwest, so it's blowing straight down this ground from left to right. With the wind chill, it does feel like about -2 here this afternoon. The short kick-off, smart move from Tuggeranong, but they can't quite get onto it. And it is the Kangaroos who bring the ball out, and that's Steve Dunn, just short of halfway, takes the big hit up for them. This Kangaroos side, with the wind at their back, they'll be really determined to make a massive statement here this afternoon, and they may just do that as Dunn goes for another hit up as he gets across the 40-metre line. They just make ground so easily. And that, for mine, is Dunn's third involvement since coming on at half-time. Ingram goes for a little kick into the corner. Cronin tries to get there, but it's been well covered by Pollard for the Bushrangers. And now Eldridge has it. John Creuter talked at half-time about how the back three for the Bushrangers, Eldridge, Masson and Pollard, hadn't done perhaps as much as their coach Jared Tecker would have liked. I think you can possibly even spread that a little bit further afield. And now they've got Ioane, but they're still inside their own 20, this Bushrangers side. They need a couple of their bigger boys to just say, right, we're going to get involved early in every tackle count, and I'm going to make a real statement and give a platform for the others to work on. Because that kick from Brophy, it's a high kick. It's been from inside his own 20. It's been taken by a teammate there. And I think it might be Robertson who's got it. And there's a handover on the halfway line. It's just a really ineffective play. I don't know what the point of it was. They would have been better going for the low trajectory kick under the wind to vacant territory. All very, very odd stuff. That was Meckie on the first run for the Kangaroos, and again, they're in opposition territory. That was Ayres, scored a try just before half-time. Well held on to by Ingram on a pass that was well and truly out on its way out the back door. He managed to grab hold of it. It was Kennedy who got up and made the tackle on him. Starting to run in numbers now, this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. And again, it's the little halfback. Gives the ball across, finds... That's Robinson. Which one? That's Travis on the far side of the ground. Got a chance to score over to the left, Reece Robinson. Gets the ball back. He's still going, it's Reece Robinson. Still going. He's gone for the line. Now the referee's having a close look at this. But he's going to say it's held up. It is held up. Now, come back to the 10, but Robinson really got involved, went around and around, and held up across the stripe. The ball will come back to the 10 because it was actually the last tackle. So there we go. So Tuggeranong come away with the ball. Now, can they achieve something with it at the moment? They've the first set, they struggled to get outside of their own 20. Maybe going around the outside will work as Connor Masson has it, but he's still in his own defensive quarter of the field. Numbers across to the left. There's Pollard. And again, I appreciate they're fast and quick around the outside, but where are the forwards doing some of the early work? Perhaps I'm just too old-fashioned. I want to see the forwards do the early work and the backs capitalise off the end of it. Mitchell, that'll be Latawa. And Latawa, again, he's still inside his own 40. Getting into a wind like this, a 40-20 is not going to be a realistic option. So what do they do with the kick? Well, almost kick it out on the full. Bounces just inside touch. And it will be a Kangaroos ball. That was barely a 40-40, if there is such a thing. Even the ball boy struggling with the wind there. Through that ball, didn't even make it 15 metres in before it was slapped down by the breeze. Kangaroos will feed a scrum, 12 short of their own, 12 short of halfway. We haven't added to the halftime scoreline. Not sure if we've had any scores from any other venues this afternoon. But here we go, Brian Cronin. Oh, he's such a dangerous player. Who's gone in with the ankle tap? It was Pollard, just reached out and just got him. But again, they're in a seriously dangerous attacking position. Tonga pushes off one, pushes off the second as he's wrapped up at the second attempt by three of the Tuggeranong players. They lift him. Careful, put him back down. All is good. You wouldn't bet against the Kangaroos scoring here. Ayres has a go. He's inside the 10 on the far side of the ground. They've got an extra man to the left. They come back to the right. It's with Ingram. He finds now Simbican. Dangerous player. There's plenty of them for the Kangaroos. He's tackled again on the 10. They come across to the right. It was Hitchcock. Gets it onto Ingram. Ingram sends it over to Whanua Tonga. And he's placed the ball down. Referee checks with the touch judges. Whanua Tonga's got a double. And you can almost stamp this one as done for the afternoon here, as the Kangaroos now have a 24-0 lead with a kick to come. 35 minutes remaining. And gee, they just made it look so easy. I reckon Ingram will enjoy his conversion attempts from in this second half more than he enjoyed it in the first half. This time kicking with the assistance of the wind. Pardon me while I just turn around. John, have we heard from any of the other grounds this afternoon? He's going to check the machine that knows all. Nothing. Not a word. We're existing in a vacuum here at Sears Workwear Oval. So the Blues win. They wrap up a top 2 spot this afternoon. And they end Woden Valley's season. West Belconnen have got Yass. At Yass, if West Belconnen win, well, they keep some sort of a chance there. And what did I say before about how Ingram might enjoy his conversion attempts at this end of the field? Maybe not. He's not having the greatest of days with the boot. He's gone just 2 from 5 this afternoon. But you can afford to go 2 from 5 when the opposition have been held scoreless, and that's what this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side have done. It's going to be pretty special here for the Bushrangers to fight their way back into this match, but they might have to show their coach Jared Tecker what they do. Look at that. That ball has gone up. It's turned around and come back. And Jaden Pollard's taken it for the Bushrangers. So they'll start a set in opposition territory, which has been a very rare sight for them today. Now Latawa takes it. He gets just short of the 30-metre line. At Oakley, it was. He's outside the 20. Got numbers to the right, and they go that way. Now it's with Robertson and Brad Robertson. They really need to use him more, I think. He's about 15 out. Now the fullback gets involved. Eldridge, he bounces off one, bounces off the second. He dives for the line. Oh, he's just short. That's the most dangerous play we've seen from the Bushrangers all afternoon. He's only just short of the line. And now Mitchell tried to go from dummy half, and they're going to try it again from dummy half. Last tackle. So Eldridge was short. Mitchell was short. Eldridge was short again. Now they come back. Flat pass across to Masson in the far side. He looks for the corner, but I don't think he's got there. In fact, he's managed to get a penalty. So they'll be able to continue to apply the pressure here, this Tuggeranong side. They've hardly had a chance to score this afternoon. So impressive the Kangaroos been. But they'll bring it back to the 10-metre line. And here we go. Kennedy has the crack. And already they're right in the teeth of the Kangaroos side. They go left, Brophy. Then he gives it across. It was Latawa. A lot of holding on in the play of the ball there, or in the tackle rather. Very slow play of the ball. Brophy through hands. Now it goes to Ioane. Ioane looking and looking. Holds onto the ball. No, loses the ball. Saw it bobble in there. Wasn't sure which way it had gone. Been lost, and the referee says it was a knock on. So it'll be the Kangaroos to feed the scrum from on their own 10-metre line. Oh, the Kangaroos, everything is going their way this afternoon. The Bushrangers, they're just really struggling. Half an hour to go here. I said if you're going to have a bad half of football, it's probably not the worst time to do it is 2 weeks out from the finals when you're sitting on top of the ladder, but you don't want to have two bad halves. You really want to try and get something out of the second half as it continues to cool down here at Sears Workwear Oval. Wind chill now down, saying it feels like -2.5. It's getting very grey over to our west as well. But there's nothing falling from the skies. Now that's Mackie being treated there. I'll just park the binoculars on him and see if we can get a closer look. Right knee, right ankle. Nice gesture from Josh Mitchell to come up and make sure that he's okay. Ankle or calf? I reckon it's ankle. He gets up. I'll check if he can get weight on it. He's got a little bit of a limp, but he's up and play. He's up and going to play the ball. So, Scopey Mackie provides a lot of great support in this Queanbeyan Kangaroos back line. Now, is that Tonga? It is. And again, this is what we're talking about at half time and how they make just so many metres, this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. Last two tackles, they've made 15 metres. Now the kick will come from inside the 30 from Ingram. It'll bounce a couple of times. It's inside the 20. This could be a 40-20. It will be a 40-20. Well, there's no surprise about that. Given what you've seen this Kangaroos side do in the first 50 minutes of this game, there is no surprise that they've gone for a 40-20. Kicked it from inside the 30, and it was almost to the 10 when it crossed the stripe. That is a phenomenal kick, but that's using the conditions. Sure, it's their home ground. They know the ground. They know the conditions. But again, the Tuggeranong side just really did not play effectively in the first half. And now Bradley has it for the Kangaroos. And they're inside the 10 once again. Numbers to the right. Here's Simbican. Reaches out, tries to score. He's about a metre short. It was good work from Eldridge to come around very quickly. Oh, they've lifted him in the tackle. Gone past the horizontal. Didn't quite get to the vertical, but the penalty was there. Called by the referee. 6 more for the Kangaroos. Bradley again. 5 metres to the right of the uprights. Now Hitchcock comes in. He's given it to, was that Kitely? Jake Kitely it was. Already seen one player go over on hands and knees for the Kangaroos, and Kitely almost joined the crawl club today. That's with Ingram. Ingram turns around, he gives it to Bradley. Bradley, oh, he's just used brute strength. Charged at the line and had time to get up to speed. And once he gets up to speed, unless you are head on with him, you're not going to stop him. He goes in. Another try for this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. That's 6 for the afternoon, and they're not done. They lead 28-0 with a kick to come. Having a look at the Kangaroos side, they've got so many players who've been so potent in attack. And after a succession of conversion attempts that he's had to take from out wide, Lockie Ingram here will be kicking this one from directly in front with the wind almost directly behind him. He could almost just put this straight up and the wind will do the rest. Two from 5 becomes 3 from 6, and it's 30-0 here at Sears Workwear Oval. So once again, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers get the ball back off the short kick-off. Can they open their account here this afternoon? Mitchell goes to his right. Up very, very quickly, the Kangaroos. That's been the story of the afternoon. That was Neil on that run. Nanisa back on the previous run. Now it's with Eldridge. Eldridge, I'll put the ball out the back, but held on to. That was Kennedy. That was Thomas. Now they come across to the left. They cut out Nanisa. Goes to Brophy. Brophy goes to the air. Pollard flies. Comes back off his hands. Gone to ground. That'll be a try. Should be a try. Referee says it's been knocked on. Well, for mine, I thought that may have gone backwards, but the referee, closer to it than we are, has ruled it as a knock on, and so it'll be the Kangaroos to get the ball back on the 20 with a 7-tackle set. And so that's the 0. And they make it 9 metres off it. Now Mackey takes it to about 12 short of halfway. They're just working it up the middle at the moment, the Kangaroos. And again, so many options. It was good from Kennedy up in defence there for the Bushrangers. Brophy helping him out. Now they go across to the right. Mackey again. That's tackle 4. And they're again in opposition territory. Across to the right. That'll be Turnbull. Takes 3 Bushrangers to bring him down. McGrath being one of them. I think Sheffield was another. And that's Kylie. And that should be the last. I counted, of course, 4 tackles. It was a 7-tackle set, so that was the 5th. There was a little knock on in there. Been picked up by the referee, and so it'll be a scrum feed to Tuggeranong. Well, actually, probably won't be a scrum feed because it's the last tackle, so it should just be a handover. Wait for it. No, we're going to get the scrum, are we? Okay. I'll let the referee take it and make the call. That was the last, wasn't it? It was the last. Well, Tuggeranong. See what they can do. Miko Mulvaney was that man there, and he was just inside the 30 when he was tackled. Now Nanisa gets outside the 30. I think a solid set here just to get some confidence back, this Tuggeranong side. McGrath involved. They're on the 40 now. Oh, big hit there. That was Hitchcock who came up at speed out of the line. And again, Tuggeranong only just over the halfway line as they I'm sure I saw the hand go up for the last tackle. It is the last tackle call. So Brophy kicks for the corner. Bounces once, taken there by Pagura and Kane Pagura. Broken field play. One of the most dangerous players in this Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup competition. This time they wrap him up, but again, he's almost out to the 30-metre line. He gets wrapped up. Now it's Turnbull, and again, 15 short of halfway. They'll go to the right, and they give it to Tonga. And Tonga again. So hard to tackle. Third tackle, and that's the 50-metre line. Do it all day. Meckie now takes another 10. Make it 12 metres on that run. Now Reece Robinson. Oh, that's just pure class as he found over there. Ayres, was it? It was. And now it goes to the other Robinson in Travis. And Travis Robinson dives for the corner. Now, has he stayed in? We'll wait for the referee to check with the touches. He checks with the touches. And Travis Robinson gets on the score sheet in his first grade game for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Make it 34-0 with a kick to come. 21 minutes remaining. Gee, what's happened to this Tuggeranong Bushrangers side that's terrorised teams across the first 3 quarters of the season here? Well, they're without Drury Lowe, they're without Norima Lowe, they're without Matt Dragicic, they're without Wes Alexander. And that leaves a considerable hole. That's 3 good backs and 1 good forward they're missing. Throw in Nathan Smith, who has made his presence felt in recent weeks for them. Again, not there. It's a pretty hard equation for Jared Tecker to come up with the answer to. But is it a 34-point differential from those players? Well, you could argue it is. There's going to be a lack of cohesion from the visitors in the first half, and I don't know if they've been able to do much better in the second. Scoreline would suggest they've given up 14, potentially about to be 16 points in this second half. How does this one go? It starts across to the right and swings away to the left. So 34-0 is the score, 20 minutes remaining. So the Kangaroos scored 20 points into the wind in the first half. They've scored 14 with the wind in the second half. And they'd be setting their eyes on a half century this afternoon. Points for and against, irrelevant really for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos in terms of where they'll finish in the top 4. Because they're on 21 courtesy of 1 draw earlier in the year. But yeah, so they're on an odd number, but the Bulldogs and the Blues both on even numbers, so points for and against are going to make very little difference, but certainly gives you a nice warm feeling. And they are a chance to really challenge that massive superiority that the Bulldogs have got. Although they're plus 300 and something, they've really demolished a few sides during the course of the season. Back to the present, though, as we see once again the Roos with the ball, and once again they're in opposition territory, and once again it's Sakopi Meckie who takes the ball inside the 30. This will be the last tackle, so what have they got? They can start trying a few different things, or they go for the high ball across field from Ingram, taken by Cronin. Cronin is enveloped by defenders from the Tuggeranong side before he can offload. And so it'll be a handover, and the Bushrangers, they'll get the ball on their own 20. 18 to go here now, and that'll be Ioane, but again he's only made 5 metres. Now on the run is Nanisa, and Nanisa gets over the 30-metre line. But again, Tuggeranong, well, just running at 1 out isn't going to achieve much for them. Mitchell sends it across to the left. Thomas gets to halfway. They continue across to the left. But again, it's just this running 1 out. There's really not much dangerous about it. Now the kick comes over. There is nobody at home in the corner, but the kick's gone out on the full. No. I don't wish to sound flat, but gee, it's just hard to get excited here at the moment. That kick from Sheffield had just too much on it. Kicking it into the wind and maybe thought it needed a little bit more. But instead, ball comes back once again to the Kangaroos. They'll get the ball 10 short of halfway. Hitchcock in at dummy half, and he gives it to Kylie. And Kylie straight up the middle of the park. Wrapped up 5 short of halfway. They'll come to the right. Once again, it's Ingram. Pops it on his outside to Turnbull, and Turnbull is pushed back, but he gets the pass away before the tackle's completed. And now that would be Baxter, I think it was, who takes the ball into the other half of the field. So once again, the Kangaroos just almost doing as they please. They go to the left, done. And again, not wrapped up in the tackle. It goes to Reece Robinson, then to Ingram. Ingram goes sideways, pushes off the first tackle, but coming up the second time was Ioane. But the tackle's gone too high, and so it'll be a penalty to the Kangaroos. There's a few words being said here. Nothing too serious to worry about, but the Kangaroos, they've got the ball with Ingram. Now he'll take the touch finder on the 30, and he can really put some pressure on. Where's it wind up? About 15 short of the try line. Like a training session for him here. They would have done these many a time at training. Ingram goes across to Reece Robinson. Then he finds Pagura. Pagura almost shaped as though he was going to kick for a second there, I thought. Held on to it. All they've done is go sideways there. But, oh, big trouble here. I think that's Kylie. It is. He's just short of the stripe. That's the second for the Kangaroos. They've got Dunn waiting. They don't use him. They go instead to Ingram. Ingram then on to Turnbull, and Turnbull only a couple short of the line. They've got an extra man to the right. They come this way. It goes to Ingram. Ingram puts it on his outside. Bouncing ball picked up off the ground by Tonga. Tonga dives over the stripe. And I reckon the ref's going to give this. He does. And that'll be a hat-trick. Hat-trick to Tonga. And now it goes out to 38-0. Kick to come. And he's a very dangerous player for Tonga. You put him in open space. And he will do that to you all day. Well, unhappy gentleman in front of us. And I don't think that's an argument you really want to get into. Not sure where the ground marshal is, but they might want to make their way around to this side of the park. We'll worry about what's going on the field here. With Ingram lining up for his 7th conversion attempt for the day. He's 3 from 6. And need to aim this considerably to the left, although the wind has now really started to drop away. Still want to aim at the left post. But he's aimed it at the right, and it swirls away to the right, and he's unsuccessful. 38-0 is the score, 13 minutes remaining. And the ball will come back for yet another kick-off from the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. So the Kangaroos have kicked off once today. Bushrangers, I think it's the 8th time they've had to kick it off. They've gone for a couple of short balls here. They've gone way too far. That time, Mitchell banking on the breeze to hold the ball up, and the breeze has dropped away a little bit in the last few minutes. And looking across, I can see there's a bit of movement in the trees, but not much there. But kicked out on the full over the sideline. So penalty to the Kangaroos, and they'll get it from the middle of the park. So Ingram will take the tap. He'll take the kick for the sideline. Thought he was going to go for the quick tap. Instead he goes for the sideline. And where will they get this? Well, they'll start about 25 out. So they give it now to Turnbull. And once again, they're into the red zone. They go across to the left. Coming across further. Now they go back around with Ingram. Ingram goes to his left. Just a little bit distracted by some stuff happening directly in front of me here at the moment, to be frank. Now we see Reece Robinson on the charge. He's about 7 short of the left-hand upright. Mitchell's trying to steal the ball from him. They go across to the left once again. Ingram has to hang on to a ball that he's taken at speed. Good defence from the Bushrangers there. Last tackle. The referee's given a few blasts on the whistle. There's plenty going on out there. There's plenty of feeling out in the middle of the park. Well, last tackle coming up. What's the option for the Kangaroos? It's been, now, has that been played at? No, hasn't been played at. So it's been fielded by Ulrich. Hardly had to call him today. And it'll be the Bushrangers to get the ball about 15 out from their own line. So about 11 till the break, and the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, now they come up in numbers and they push him back about 9 metres in that tackle. Now it's with Eldridge. Eldridge takes it about 15 out from his own line. Now Nanisa, as he spilt the ball in there. Referee calls it stripped, so it'll be a penalty to the Bushrangers. Bit of push and shove between Nanisa and Dunn. So Mitchell with the touch finder. Doesn't make too many metres, but he does find touch. So they'll restart on their own 30. I reckon that's Kennedy. About 12 short of the stripe. Mitchell goes to the left once again. Thomas. Now through the hands, Brophy looks for someone, decides to take it himself. He's wrapped up just short of the half, or just over the halfway line. Now a run from dummy half from Mitchell. Then he gives it across, finds Thomas, and Thomas is 15 into opposition territory. Most unfamiliar place for the Bushrangers through the course of the afternoon. Now Brophy has it. Has on his outside McGrath. McGrath cut down though by Ingram. That's the 30. This is the last tackle. Bushrangers didn't look like they quite had themselves set up there. Not a bad kick in the end for a rushed kick from Brophy. Holds in the air, but again, the Kangaroos wrap it up in security, and now they go through with Mackey. And he's 25 out from his own line. We're into the last 10 minutes here, 38-0 the score. And a game between first and fourth on the table prior to this weekend. Tonga, man with 3 tries. You wouldn't back against him going for a fourth as the afternoon progresses, would you now? Hitchcock 5 metres short of the halfway line. Now it's with Ingram, and Ingram decides to kick. There's nobody back. Masson has to set sail. He's chasing and chasing. He might just get wrapped up in his in-goal area. He just gets out in the field of play. And it's Travis Robertson who gets in. That was clever play again from Ingram. He's had a good game this afternoon. He has an absolute blinder, the Kangaroos halfback. And this Kangaroos side, oh, they're really out to make a statement here. They are shutting down this Tuggeranong side. I'm struggling to remember if the Tuggeranong side have actually made it past the 30 at the other end of the park in this second half. Once? Twice? Maybe twice. Game's been played in 70 metres of the park for the last half an hour, bar a few seconds. Well, what can Tuggeranong do this time? Well, Mitchell goes for a run, And he keeps going for a run. He's got a man in support. He's got Pollard on his right. He goes to him. And Pollard will get dragged down, but he might let momentum take him over the line. Cronin got to him, but I think he's been able to slide across the line. There's been precious little to cheer about for the Bushrangers fans this afternoon. But Jaden Pollard gives them something. He gets 4 points. And it's 38-4 with 8 minutes remaining. You can put that all back to Josh Mitchell having the presence of mind and the awareness to just go for a run. He saw the gap was there, darted at it and kept going. Had a couple of players in support. Pollard crossed over onto the inside. And Pollard winds up with the try for this afternoon. And it's taken 73 long minutes for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers fans to have something to cheer about, but they finally get on the board. 38-4, kick to come. You can just see in the foreground of the shot there, by the way, you can see Whenua Tonga for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos getting some sort of treatment there. I hope he's okay because he's had a blinder this afternoon. He'd be set for a finals campaign. Getting some strapping on his right wrist. And the conversion from Michael O'Malvaney is successful. And now after that kick is taken, referee blows time off as he comes over to have a look at Whenua Tonga. So we might do likewise. At least I will up here in the box. So that would be his right thumb they appear to be taping. You don't want a thumb injury. Fingers you can sort of cope with. Thumbs not so easy to cope with. So being rejoined here by John Croyter from the Canberra Raiders Cup as we get to about 6 before the end of the game. And, well, Tonga's back up and he's got some strapping added to the right hand there.
Yeah, and I just remember there was a game he had last year. I think it was the Queanbeyan Derby at this ground for Whenua Tonga. He scored a hat-trick, but he also broke his thumb in that game there. So it might be that same thumb that's just been causing a little bit of problems. Well,
cold day, broken bones after they heal. It's the cold days when you really feel it.
Not much colder than today.
No, we're down to 5 degrees, minus 3 on the apparent temperature, courtesy of the wind. John, we can probably take a few minutes here while this game sort of rolls through to do a bit of a wrap on things, really.
Well, I just wanted to give Tuggeranong a little bit of a rope. I know that the scoreline isn't actually that impressive for them in this second half, but I feel like their contact in attack and defence has really improved. I feel like probably just guilty of being a bit impatient and trying to chase points on the scoreboard, but in attack and defence, they've been being hard in that contact. Just haven't been able to get any sort of rhythm just because they've been going for low percentage plays to try and score. As we get another low percentage play, but it looks like it's going to pay off.
It's going to turn off for them as Pollard goes through with, I'm not sure what kind of a kick you would call that. Sheffield's picked it up and fielded it and scored at the try. There goes the referee, points to the spot and blows the whistle. So 2 tries in a minute for the Bushrangers. Yeah, well, an unorthodox try indeed. Pollard scores one and gets the try assist on the next one.
Yeah, and that's the same. Like they've got the talent. I think this has actually been a much better second half. There's been a lot more willingness to run the ball. Everyone's been getting involved. And that there is just a little bit of a freaky sort of play there by Jaden Pollard. Unorthodox, but it worked. And this will do their confidence a world of good.
Well, we talked about, what was it, Cronin with the unusual try in the first half, crawling over, and now we've got Pollard with the... I'm not sure, it's almost a soccer kick, wasn't it? It really wasn't something you'd usually see in rugby league. It was almost a soccer kick.
It was a Brazilian on the beach sort of kick.
Exactly, yeah, the Brazilian beach football pass. We'll go with that. And now Michael O'Malvaney has the chance to convert for the second time this afternoon. He's, as you can see, 20 in from touch. Curves away a little bit to the right, but he gets his second and puts a little bit of respectability into the scoreline, 38 points to 12. John, I'm going to wrap this up fairly quickly after full time, so I'll get your thoughts on the game here and let you go back to your official duties. But anything else you want to throw at us before you wrap up this afternoon?
Well, I just think that this shows we've got a good final series coming up. We know our 4 teams now. It's going to be Queanbeyan Kangaroos. They've confirmed their place there. The Queanbeyan Blues will be there, Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, and the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And this second half, I think Tuggeranong have shown enough to me to say that if that second half started at 0-0, that'd be in this game. I think we've got a really good final series coming up. Still one more round of the regular season left, so Tuggeranong Bushrangers up against Queanbeyan Blues. That'll be a massive game. If the Bushrangers can get a win there, they're looking good. They're back in form heading into finals. A loss that could be quite detrimental, but they should get a top 2 finish nonetheless. Queanbeyan Kangaroos got a game against the Belconnen United Sharks in their final season game. So that was a tight game last time, 21-22. The Kangaroos got up that day. They're a much better side now. I said it at the start of the call. I think the Queanbeyan Kangaroos are probably the form team in the competition. I just think you look at their side, there's no real obvious weakness. There's Trey Williams to come back. Nukangiri didn't play today. I don't know if those guys will be back before the finals, but that's 2 very impressive players you can add to an already impressive team.
Yeah, indeed, the Kangaroos, they're a couple down, but as we've said a couple of times today as well, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they're missing 3 or 4 of their top flight as well. So they'll be a better side in a couple of weeks' time come the finals. And yeah, well, the Queanbeyan Blues, they've been there, they've done that. So there's a lot to look forward to in this final series starting in a couple of weeks. Good on you, John. John Croyder from the Canberra Raiders Cup there. And of course, let's not forget the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, who have managed to run up so many points against so many teams across the course of this season. It's going to be a very, very exciting final series, and you'll catch every game here on Bar TV. We're into the last couple of minutes here, and it may well be that the Queanbeyan Kangaroos are about to add to their tally. Oh, they are. And they do it quite comfortably. And the horns on the cars to our left tooting and tooting, and Kane Bagura gets in, and he scores for the Kangaroos in the corner, and that might just be about it for this afternoon, because I can't imagine they're going to take 2. They're going to rush the conversion attempt from Ingram. 42 points to 12 is the scoreline here, though, as Ingram comes back for yet another conversion attempt. Indeed, we are now into the last 60 seconds. And I think I just saw a very sneaky look over to the scoreboard there from Lockie Ingram to make sure that the conversion attempt is about the last thing for the course of the game. So let's run through the scorers while we wait for the conversion attempt from Ingram, who's got 3 from 7 so far today, in a pretty tough day for place kicking. For the Kangaroos, 3 tries to Whanua Tonga. And then individual tries to Jeremiah Simbican. Seems so long ago that he scored that first one. Josh Ayres in there as well. Jordan Bradley, Travis Robinson on debut for the club. Brian Cronin and Kane Pagura with the tries. Lockie Ingram, he has 3 from 7 so far today. Here comes conversion attempt number 8 with literally no time left on the clock. The siren sounds. And appropriately enough, it's a conversion from the sideline right over the black dot to wrap this one up. Lockie Ingram gets his 4th for the afternoon from 8 attempts. For the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, Jaden Pollard scored both their tries. No, he didn't. Pollard scored 1, set the other one up. It was Sheffield who scored the second try. So Pollard with 1 try, Sheffield with 1 try, and Michael O'Malvini with 2 conversions from as many attempts. It has been a bitterly cold afternoon here. And you'd have to wonder whether Tuggeranong were able to warm to the task. They did score a couple of late tries, but in the end it's been all maroon here this afternoon. 44 points to 12. And that means that the Queanbeyan Kangaroos have locked up a spot in the top 4. The Goulburn Workers Bulldogs have a bye, so they will be on 24 points. Queanbeyan Blues up against the Woden Valley Rams. I haven't had any indication as to how that game has progressed. If the Blues win, then they are in a battle for top spot with Tuggeranong next week. What a game that'll be. If the Blues have lost, then suddenly you've got a three-way competition between the Blues, the Bulldogs and the Kangaroos for second, third and fourth. Fascinating week coming up next weekend in the Bloomers Lawyers Canberra Raiders Cup. But here at Sears Workwear Oval this afternoon, it has been virtually one-way traffic for the home side, where the Queanbeyan Kangaroos have run out victorious by 44 points to 12 over the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. On behalf of everyone at the Canberra Raiders Cup and Bar TV, this is Chris Coleman signing off from Sears Workwear Oval this afternoon. I might go and find myself a nice warm cup of coffee. Thank you very much.